we're really excited to be beginning a monthly webinar update. Really wanted to make sure that we were keeping everybody in the loop and letting you know all of the work that's being done behind the scenes. Wanted to give you an update on the scheme in general, what's going on in terms of collections and the accreditation process, but also let you know about some of the exciting communications work that's going on. We've got our second positive charge report coming up. We've also been conducting some research. We've had some developments around IT, and then there's some project-specific tasks I want to just bring you in the loop on around loose batteries and electric vehicle battery stewardship, and then spend a bit of time talking about what you would like to see in the future of webinars. So on that note, we'll move forward. So a quick update on the scheme progress. I did first just want to introduce you to Ana Paula Gomez, who's joined us recently. She's a sustainability project coordinator working on the network rebate administration and has been a really great help. And also, some of you may not have met Kara yet. She's the new Director of Communications and Sustainable Change. And I think you probably know our other team members. A quick update on participation. You'll see here, this includes both importers and retailers. So we're really proud of the amount of participation that we've received. Obviously, it's an ongoing issue to bring in free riders, but very good coverage of the battery market in our in-scope batteries to date. We do, however, still recognise the importance of harnessing free riders. Obviously, that's a key issue for us, and there are some specifics around that depending on what sector it is, with really good representation in the loose, smaller batteries, but definitely some work to do around some of the other in-scope batteries like power tools and electric bikes and electric scooters. So we're working on developing an awareness campaign to really differentiate battery stewards. We're also looking at putting a business development manager on, focusing specifically on that. We've been working with the ministers, with the Environment Minister, looking at action on that front, and really lobbying for light regulation to encourage importers to join the scheme, and then having the scheme being able to operate under its own steam. And then the other thing that we are doing on this front is to conduct some importer audits to make sure that the levy amounts that people are actually reporting are accurate, and that we're all on the same page from that perspective. You'll see from this list that we have a lot of participation from a drop-off perspective. These are all too small to read, I know, but it does show really great representation across the country of different organisations in this process who have taken the step to become accredited, and that's a really important piece. Also, we have strong participation on the for collectors and recyclers, and we've just got 2 new organisations, Resource, who's certainly been at the forefront of developing fertiliser technology for alkaline batteries, which is crucial. And we also want to welcome Gregory's, who will be a metal recycling agency who's been really welcome to our collection network. And then we have quite a few partners as well. So as you can see, we have a pretty broad stakeholder group, and that's why today, events like this are really helping. What our intention is to make sure that we're communicating well with everybody. I might just hand over to Jade quickly to give you a quick update on the accreditation process.
Thanks, Libby. So yeah, as Libby mentioned, we've got quite a strong drop-off point collection network that we're continuing to expand, and it's really exciting to see the continued expansion and the different types of drop-off places that are growing across the country. Really, this shouldn't be any new information to yourselves, but to flag that we still have the commitment form that's a requirement for all new participants. We've got lots of information sheets on how to become a accredited participant, whether a drop-off point, a collector, sorter, or recycler. And this year, we're having a lot of focus on the downstream vendors to making sure that all of the products that are recovered from batteries are being done so in an environmentally sound manner, and we have that transparency. Just like to flag the B-cycle container protocols. Obviously, the way which we collect, transport, and store batteries is really important. That was the initial version of the protocols, and later this year we'll be doing a review, and we'll be consulting with yourselves to make sure that it's fit for purpose and really best practice. And as always, we have quite a detailed collection and recycling network protocols document. We strongly encourage you to review to make sure that everyone is across the requirements. But yeah, if there's information that's outstanding from this, please let us know and we can update and make sure everyone's informed appropriately. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we've only been operating less than 18 months and we've already expanded from significantly across the country. You'll see we're at actually 4,188 public drop-off points, which is really great, and a number of private sites as well, with really great coverage and accessibility into quite remote areas of Australia. So you can see the network there. We continue to grow, and we thank you all for your support, without which we wouldn't have this amazing and highly accessible network for the community. Next slide, please. So these are some of the facts and figures of where we are at. To note, this is until the 30th of April, so not including May or June data yet, but you'll see we've collected nearing 3,000 tons of batteries since we've started. And that's the equivalent of over 116 million battery units, or the AA battery sizes. It's really exciting to see this. It's quite phenomenal, actually, and really kudos, obviously, to all of the network who participate, that really our reason for being that we've been able to collect these and make sure they don't go to landfill. And additionally, we've collected over 13,000 kilos of button batteries. Great, next slide.
I just wanted to confirm, Jade, you just had a misspoke. It was nearly 3 million kilograms, not tons, of batteries collected.
Oh, sorry, I thought, sorry, 3,000 tons. That's correct.
Oh, that is correct.
Yeah.
Not 3 million. Okay, sorry.
No, sorry, I said it in tons, sorry.
That's okay.
But thanks for clarifying. That's good to note. Our collections by location and source, probably not surprising given the population is primarily metro-based, but we do have a very expansive regional network. 77% of the collections by weight have been from metro areas, and 23 from regional. In terms of the number of collections, have been 94% from the public network and 6% from private. The majority of those public from the retail chain. So over 70% coming from the retail, whether it be grocery stores, hardware stores, electronics, etc. Thanks. Just an update on our accreditation audit. So we've been really busy in 2022. We completed 16 accreditation audits. This year we've completed 8 to date, and we have a total of 40, noting not all of them are the recycler or collector audits, which was primarily the focus for 2022. But later this year, we'll be doing more of the drop-off points, both public and private, as well as some unannounced audits. But those who will be impacted on the unannounced audits will give you some notice that it's coming, and obviously inform you of the scope of those audits. They won't be the full accreditation audit scope. But yeah, just to say, it's always a busy year. So we thank everyone for their cooperation, and obviously thank our partners who help to complete those audits and verify the processes that you all contribute to the scheme. Thanks. And just some updates by state. So these are collections by state. So that's number of collections by state. So you'll see from January 20, this is actually just 2023 data to note. So the number of collections, that's physical pickups by state from January to April. You'll see there the distribution in the top graph. I don't need to go through it in detail, but it's quite impressive, the number of collections, and you'll see again every state and territory being serviced. And then in that below diagram there is the collections in tons by state or territory for, again, January to April 2023. Yeah. This is really a reminder of the process for rebate verification. Again, we require evidence of chain of custody and transparency that starts at the drop-off point and is completed by the collector. So the geotagged photo, the consignment notes, and shipping records that include things like the estimated weight, the number of items, time of pickup, location of pickup, that then need to be verified or receipted by the receiving sorter recycler, who verifies the weight, the chemistries, sorts the batteries, and confirms all the consignment notes, etc. And then we verify the sorting into the different chemistries and their claim, as well as the recyclers need to provide things like certificate of recycling, evidence of the processing of the batteries, and obviously also evidence of the processing of the recovered materials down to the secondary processors and other downstream vendors, and the shipping records and other invoices that, as well as export licenses and records that demonstrate these materials have been recovered or have gone overseas for final recover or selling back into a market, which is great because that demonstrates the full circularity of the process. Thanks.
Thought I would just give you a quick update on some of our advisory group work. We have a subcommittee of the board, the Risk and Audit Committee, who's very focused on the core risks, and some of those of note probably relate to the free rider issue and ensuring that we have equitable engagement of importers. I think we would all realise that the red cycle incident earlier this year has had implications for schemes in general, and we've been discussing how to avoid those kind of risks for the BSC and ensure that we are very clear in our commitment to demonstrating to consumers that they can be confident about the outcomes of the scheme. And that committee also oversees our own BSC financial audit, but also the importer audits that we conduct as well to confirm levy amounts. We also have a button battery advisory group, and this group works under the auspices of our authorisation through the ACCC, and their main focus right now is very much on the awareness campaign. And initially we had thought that that would be focusing on button batteries, but actually, as you'll see, the advisory group decided that better to focus on battery safety in general in order to get a broad buy-in from the community and to reach as many people as possible about the importance of battery safety. Safety labels as well, and I'll talk more about that in a moment. They're also focusing on the development of developing button battery home storage containers, and that will look like the development initially of some protocols that identify what the requirements will be for those containers. Then we will invite suppliers of those containers to submit proposals to demonstrate how they meet those protocols, and we will promote and accredit the containers themselves. So that's an interesting piece of work. We also have an accreditation working group. Right now, the main focus of that, you may have seen through our B News, is some of the policy review and consultation around aggregation, drop collection, aggregation point collections, which we've now renaming into incidental collections, and also processing time limits and operational storage times. So that work is continuing. We have more work to do. I think Jade just flagged the fact that we want to review the container protocols. I think now we're nearly a year ahead and have had some learnings there, and would like to get people's perspectives on how they could be improved. So we'll be reaching out on that front as well to get your feedback on those topics. I'm now going to hand over to Tara to give you an update on the work that we've been doing on the communications front. Thank you.
Next slide. So if I can just give you a broader picture of the work that we're doing in communications at the moment. So these are our overall communications and education goals. to raise awareness, of course, about the human and environmental risks associated with batteries and the importance of recycling, to change behaviour by educating the community with action-oriented steps focused on improvement of the battery safety throughout the life cycle, and also to grow visibility of the scheme and maintain participant retention. So media and engagement, this is sort of a summary of how we've been going, particularly in Q1 of this year. So I won't read all of this, so you can get a bit of a snapshot, but obviously we're still doing really well with the positive charge report from last year. That's still garnering a lot of engagement from the Australian public. And we're working really hard on social media as well, on our Facebook and LinkedIn sites. Many of you are members and engage with that regularly, so thank you. And the next slide. So these are the events that we have taken part in so far. In Coffs Harbour, we had Jade and Libby presenting there. I'm sure many of you were there and we spoke to you. There's also been the New South Wales Treasury Procurement Professionals, Consumer Electronics Suppliers Association, the New South Wales Circularity Roundtable. A couple upcoming for this month. In the next couple of weeks, we've got the ISF on Battery Responsible Sourcing and Traceability Symposium, and finally the Australian Circular Economy Forum. So B-cycling, raising awareness. This is just a snapshot of what we've been working on the website at the moment. A lot of this is in the process of being updated, particularly in regards to the safety labels that Libby has touched on and the awareness campaign that I'm going to talk through in just a moment. So battery public safety campaign. This is the one that Libby mentioned just a moment ago, which sort of stemmed from the Bud and Battery Advisory Group and the work we've been doing with them. As mentioned, we're now going to focus on general battery safety overall. So our key messages that we're working on are: be safe in your use and storage of batteries, never dispose of batteries in curbside bins, to tape used battery terminals with clear sticky tape, and also to take used batteries to a B-cycle drop-off point. So we have been working over the last few months very busily on this and trying to narrow down the sort of the campaign approach. Many of you have contributed just over the last couple of weeks providing advice on this, and we're open to all feedback from you on that. So these are the few that we've landed on. The one highlighted here, this tape saves lives, is likely to be the one that we're going to focus on, at least in the first stage. But we do expect that this campaign will run over a number of years. We're hoping to launch approximately July, give or take, this year. So we're kind of coming to a point now where the approach and the various concepts and the communications collateral that have come with that, they're in really good shape. So they're coming along very nicely. A big part of that will be a pack for local councils and other stakeholders such as yourselves. And in there we'll have, for example, collateral like posters, stickers, which can be used on trucks and other vehicles. There'll be regular communications collateral such as that for social media, for websites, website banners and the like. So we're trying to put together a really big package of materials that can be used by stakeholders to help communicate our messages.
Leveraging funding too, I think is the other thing.
Okay. I think Libby's just mentioned that. Okay. No, we're both on camera here, and leveraging funding, of course.
So we're just working with the New South Wales EPA and others to see if we can't augment the funding that we have to support these efforts. Obviously, if you know of anyone who wants to contribute to that, then please let us know.
So as part of that, we are conducting some community awareness research through Mobium. So we're likely to do that in the next couple of weeks, and that will help us to measure awareness among the Australian public of their attitudes towards batteries, battery safety, battery recycling. And then we would also like to conduct about approximately 6 months into the campaign, so towards the end of the year, we'll look at doing the same research again, or some version of that, so we'll be able to measure how the campaign's going and how we have raised awareness. The key players will be the ACCC, the Bud and Battery Advisory Group. This is the research agency Mobium, who we are working with. The creative agency that we're also working with is called South Pole, and our communications and PR agency, The Bravery. So there's a lot of people working on this. It's really important to us, and it's certainly going to be an area of focus as we move towards the end of this year.
Can I do this one?
Yeah, okay.
So the other project that some of you would be aware of too is the container safety labelling, and this has been something we've had in our container protocols since they were set up mid last year. We had initially given people till the end of February to complete the labelling, and since that time, the ACCC has increased their attention on this issue and really looking for us to give them with regular updates on the proportion of the network that has safety labels. So we've been, since the ACCC got involved, the Button Battery Advisory Group has been also very focused on this, and we have been zeroing in on the language for those labels, and very close now to having them finalised. So the next stages for this, the final language, I should say, that we've landed on is tape battery terminals for fire prevention and child safety. And essentially now I think we're probably very close to finalising that. So there will be a digital version developed along with a style guide that people can use to print onto their bins directly. But we're also going to print some, so orders for printed stickers should be put forward ASAP. If you could email Cara the sizes that you'd like to see this week, that will enable us to get them into the print run, and then we can distribute those. Then we would look for application within 30 days, or if that's not possible, let us know. And that's really just to enable us to provide those updates that we're required to do for the ACCC. Excuse me.
So upcoming positive charge report. This is another important piece of work that we're all working on at the moment. We're hoping to release that in July, August of this year. You'd all be familiar with the first positive charge report, which was released last year. This is sort of the second instalment of that, and should provide an update on the progress of B-Cycle and the work that we've been doing in this space.
We are also doing some really interesting research at the moment. The first one I just wanted to let you know about is some Australian battery market analysis. This has been conducted by University of Technology Sydney, the Institute for Sustainable Futures. It's essentially a material flow analysis of the stocks and flows from sales, consumption and end of life. We did release some early data. I'm not sure if you saw the electric vehicle media that we did last week, but had some really interesting findings just demonstrating how quickly the uptake of EVs is going to be and the implications of that for used batteries as well. And we will be publishing the full report in line with the positive charge report, if not before. The same research team has also been doing a life cycle analysis, which will have some really fantastic results. We've got an early read of it and it looks fantastic. So we're looking forward to sharing that with you and to, getting some really good attention on the value of recycling as opposed to using raw materials in products. So keep your eyes open for that one. We'll definitely be sharing it in our alert and probably will make it the focus of one of our webinars, definitely. Another important project is some economic analysis. This has been quite a long-winded project and it's been a little bit challenging. It's been conducted by Circular Australia with the assistance of William Bark. The idea that we had was to really understand the cost benefit at each stage of the collection and recycling process, and then to use that aggregated data to really help the board in making financial decisions and adjustments to the levy or the rebate. I think it's been quite challenging given that everybody's systems are just being put in place. So we've had to delay the data collection round a couple of times, but now I think participants of the scheme have really started to get a better understanding themselves of the costs, which is really helpful. So there's another round of analysis that we're going to be conducting over the next month. And then that information will be used at the next board meeting in August to discuss whether there are any needs to adjust it, needed adjustments to the levy and the rebate framework. This is not a document that we're going to be able to make public just because it's quite a bit of commercial in confidence information, and because the market is so small, it would really release sensitive information of individual companies, so we're not able to do that. But I thought it was still nonetheless important for you to be aware that work is being conducted. We've also been doing some interesting work around IT systems. We've just finalised a new drop-off point management system, and that's also going to provide the framework for other work related to that. Linked to that is the manual rebate processing system that we're working with now, and we'll be refining and improving that over the next coming years. The other thing that I think you will be really interested to know is that we are going to launch a member portal. At the moment, we've got a portal mainly for communications, but we realise that we need to do a better job of sharing with you some of the broader documents. So having the latest versions, for example, of protocols. And if we've got tools or Excel spreadsheet templates or risk assessment templates, then we can put them up there and you can have access to those. So it's not completed yet, it's in the developmental stage, but it's not far off, and we'll definitely let you know in the B alert once we've got that up and running. A couple of other final projects I just wanted to tell you about. Loose batteries in product, so that's the standard AAA batteries that are imported within a product, that has been a little bit of a challenge for our participants. So levies on those batteries have been deferred because it's been hard for them to account for it. So obviously we need to bring those into the fold, and we've been consulting extensively with industry to understand how best to do that. We've just finished that consultation. We reviewed all the submissions, and as a result of that, we've developed a number of options. So depending on the organisation, they may have different approaches to calculating their levy contribution. The grace period will be finishing up at the end of this month. So from July 1, importers of loose batteries in products will be required to report their levy, and they have three options. They can use the standard levy rate calculation that importers of loose batteries use, which is essentially the actual weight, and then dividing that by the equivalent battery unit of 24 grams. We've also established a published levy fee calculation method based on a published levy fee table that they can use as a multiplier. And we've also enabled a 10% method. We're just going to trial this for the first year. But essentially, if a participant is importing more than 15 million EBUs, if their levy obligation is more than 15 million equivalent battery units of loose batteries, then they can calculate their levy of loose batteries in product of 10% of the annual sales of loose batteries. That did not come across very well. I apologise. I'll say that again. So if they are importing loose batteries, they can essentially calculate 10% of that as their levy for loose batteries in product, and that can be the method. So we're just going to trial that and see how it goes. But at the moment, it certainly seems that industry were comfortable with those three options. If you want to read a little bit more, you can go to the website, and I've just put the image here so you could see. If you haven't been to the resources page yet, you can essentially go there and download that information sheet and read a little bit more about it. The final project I just wanted to give you a quick update is the electric vehicle battery stewardship. Many of you probably know that we had received funding from the National Product Stewardship Investment Fund to develop a consultation paper on electric vehicle battery stewardship. That's been prepared, and we've been asking for feedback on that. So one of the great things about it is that we've been able to do this in partnership with the Federal Chamber of Automotive Industries and the Motor Trades Association. And together with them, we've been doing some recent media just to get industries awareness and get them involved in providing feedback. The idea is essentially the discussion paper asks a series of questions. We want to understand, where are the market failures in this space? Can B-cycle help? Are there any aspects of B-cycle's design that would apply really well? Are there any things that don't work? And really work with the industry to identify what the best option is moving forward. So we would intend for the next stage to be preparing another issues paper and then conduct a series of workshops. It may even be, we may need to develop a working group to work on that moving forward so that we can create a recommendation for what this could look like into the future. So call to action there. If you're in this space, then please give us your feedback by the end of June. And if you know of other people who this might be relevant to, then please also let them know, as we'd love to get some really good engagement on this topic. Final thing really is just to let you know about what we're planning. We're going to do this type of thing once a month just to make sure that you're really up to date with what we're doing, and probably will look a little bit similar to this, but with the sort of updated information every month. Also very happy to, we'll have ad hoc topics. As I said, life cycle assessment is a really interesting project, so I'm sure we'll do something on that. But very happy to do other topics, so please let us know what you would like to hear about. If there's any particular parts of the scheme that you would like more information about, we're very happy to do that. So please do stay in touch on that front. And that's all we've got for you today. So happy to take any questions or hear about topics that you'd like to hear of in the future. Can people talk? There's a hand up.
So, Catherine.
Can you see that?
Yeah.
I can't see that.
Hey, Libby, thanks, and thanks, Cara and Jade, for a very interesting and informative session. The light regulation that you're discussing with the Commonwealth, what are you looking at?
Same approach that we've been talking about for a while, which is to encourage the federal government to look at introducing a regulation that would require importers of a particular battery type or all loose batteries, for example, to participate in an accredited scheme. And then the accredited scheme obviously would meet all of the other requirements according to their own processes. It would have to have some accountability around, traceability and reporting on recycling outcomes. But that would be part of the accreditation process set by the Product Stewardship and Accreditation Group.
So that would have more than is currently happening, or is it really just effectively trying to mandate loose batteries participate in the scheme to deal with the free rider issue?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Thank you. So it won't have any.
Yeah, I think what we've really seen is that there's I think it's quite incredible the participation that we do have, but for those people that are participating, they have a certain degree of frustration that there are some organisations who are just, digging their heels in and not participating, even though it's not a great proportion. It's still a significant amount of funding that we could be using to improving safety, to increasing collections and so forth. So they're really quite enthusiastic about really addressing the free rider issue.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And it looks like we've also got a hand up from Ricardo, if you'd like to go ahead. Can't hear anything from Ricardo. Did you still want to ask a question of the group? Your hand is up.
Ricardo, maybe if you can use the chat as an option if you can't hear your question. Yeah, we still can't hear you.
If anyone's having any issues being heard, please do write in the chat and we'll address your questions that way. Might be it for
That
questions.
might be it
Yeah.
for questions. I particularly just want to thank the team for helping put this together, and also really am hoping that this is a good method of communication with everybody moving forward, and we're kind of excited to have a more regular dialogue. And just wanted to assure you that we have an open door policy. So if you've got any questions or ideas for how we can do things better, then please reach out and let us know. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.